everybody, welcome to Girl Talk with EC and happy Mental Health Awareness Month. So for this Girl Talk series, I'm happy to be speaking to Blessing Olatunji.
Hi everyone.
Yes, Blessing is a psychology student at Unilag. She's a mental health enthusiast and she's the president of the Mind Clinic. So for this interview, we are going to be talking about mental health awareness, just overall basic knowledge about mental health awareness and how everybody can work on their mental health. Blessing, again, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So first of all, just to address the basics, what does mental health mean and who can have mental health challenges? Because in Nigeria, when you talk about mental health, some people think, okay, yeah, crazy, it's people in the streets. So what does it really mean? What is mental health?
Thank you very much for the question. So when we talk about mental health, we mean the state of our mind, how well our mind is. And just like our physical health, sometimes it can be good and it can be bad. To efficiently describe this, we'll be talking about the mental health spectrum, which goes from healthy to coping to struggling, then to unwell. When an individual is healthy, that means at that state there is no mental distress or mental stress. The person is perfectly fine. So when it moves to the coping stage, there's a presence of mental stress or distress either from different activities, day-to-day activities. But at that point in time, the person can still go through. The person is still doing very well. Yes. And when it gets to the coping stage, the struggling stage, when it gets to the struggling stage, the person has the mental distress that the person has been struggling with has been etched into the person's mind, because the person has decided to not talk about it or talk to someone about it. So then from struggling, we get to the phase of unwell. When an individual is mentally unwell, the mental stress and mental distress are stayed for too long. The person has been coping with major life challenges like divorce, breakups, failures, and whatsoever. Going to the next question, you asked me who can face mental health challenges. Definitely anyone can face mental challenges because no one is immune to it, irrespective of age, class, gender, or sexual orientation. No one is immune to it, although there are risk factors that make people more prone to mental health issues.
Could you talk a little bit about the risk factors?
Okay, most mental health disorders or illnesses are genetic. They are hereditary. So if a person has an history of mental illness in the family, the person is also at risk. Maybe your parents, your uncle, your sister. The person can be at risk. If the person has faced childhood traumatic experiences like abuse, assault, neglect, it can contribute to these cases. If the person also abuses drugs or alcohol, I know recently in Nigeria it has been a very chaotic issue with drugs and drug abuse with youth. So these issues and many more can make someone at risk of mental health issues.
Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting that. That's really enlightening to know that anybody can have mental health challenges. It doesn't mean that it's for rich people, it's for poor people. Anybody that is human can have mental health challenges because everybody goes through life experiences and it affects them. And it's also interesting to know that sometimes their mental health can be affected by the fact hereditary, like you said. If your family members have had things, then it might affect your mental health. So it's good to know your family history when talking about mental health because it might mean that you are likely prone to have some mental health challenges. Thank you so much for that. And when we were discussing, you highlighted that some of the things that happen when you have mental health problems could be maybe you've gone through major life experiences, breakup, divorce, things like that. So in addition to that, what are some other symptoms that your mental health is not alright, that it's worsening?
Okay, there are different symptoms of worsening mental health and it varies because we all have different mental health capacity. We all have different coping mechanisms in our lives. But there are some key symptoms we also have to look at, like loss of appetite. You might notice that you've lost your appetite, you find it difficult to eat, or on the other hand, you eat excessively. Then sleep also. Maybe you stopped sleeping, you are struggling with sleeplessness, or you even oversleep. Maybe you are just uninterested, you just feel like sleeping. Then another key symptom is when you find out that your performance drops. Your performance in maybe school, work, then also social withdrawal. When people go through mental health struggles, they will withdraw from their friends, their families, and other public gatherings because they just want to be alone. There are also a lot of symptoms we have to look out for, and while also looking out for symptoms, we have to understand that some people experience these symptoms but they mask it up. So while you might want to look out for your friend might be masking it up. That's why we have cases of people who say, my friend was a very happy person but she ended up committing suicide. And there's also something we call smiling depression. Smiling depression is when someone is happy on the outside but depressed on the inside. So you see that it is very tricky. The symptoms can be very tricky.
That's so interesting, and it's great that you mentioned the fact that there are different types of depression, and just because somebody looks physically happy doesn't mean that they are happy.
Yes.
And that actually leads me to my next question, because in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I want to talk about mental health maintenance. How can we help ourselves to maintain our mental health? And if we also suspect that somebody is struggling, how can we also help somebody else?
Okay, thank you for that question. So, first of all, I'll say take breaks. Some people are workaholics, really. 24 hours, we are always working. Take breaks. The truth is, if something bad happens to you, the work will continue. Someone else will take a place. So, take out time to rest, to sleep. Just like take breaks, go on breaks. Also talk to people. It is not until your mental health deteriorates finally that you start looking out to help. Don't be ashamed about it. You also have to speak out and let people know what's going on about you. Then exercise. You have to exercise, it helps the body. Sometimes physical health issues can also cause mental health issues. Yeah, so they are connected. So you have to exercise, then eat right also. One other thing you can do to maintain your mental health is to detach from toxic people. Stay with people that make you feel good about yourself, and do more activities that make you see how amazing you are. Because there are a lot, especially in Nigeria, there are a lot of reasons for somebody to just be stressed and depressed. Yeah, that's why you have to engage more in activities. If you can sing well, do that. If you can write, if you can do this, don't surround yourself with people that always see the negative thing in you. Because self-esteem issues can also contribute to mental health.
Thank you so much. So many great points that you should not be afraid to speak to somebody if you need help. And you have to be intentional about doing things that make you happy, because the reality is that we live in Nigeria, and in the Nigerian climate, there are so many difficult challenges that happen in Nigeria. So people have to really be intentional about making an effort to make themselves happy. And be careful about the people you surround yourself with. That's big. If you're around people who are toxic, if it's family, if it's a relationship, don't find a way to distance yourself from that so that it doesn't continue to affect your mental health. And my favorite one is exercise, because I know that there are days when I'm just feeling like unhappy or I'm upset, and then I exercise, and then it's really, I feel so much better. Like, it lifts my mood so much. That's why I try to be consistent at the gym, because I know that after I just have so much energy. I have so much energy and I'm happy. So I tell people that I need exercise in my life, because it really does improve your mood. It improves your mood. Thank you so much. And so the theme for Mental Health Awareness Month is actually loneliness. That's the theme for this month. So I wanted to talk about how does one handle or process loneliness.
Okay, so when you are lonely, you have to. Loneliness basically does not mean maybe you're feeling alone. Like, you might be in the midst of thousands and still feel lonely. It is more of a state of mind. You have to first process the reason you are lonely. Understand, are you lonely because you feel like no one wants to talk to you? Maybe you feel neglected, or you feel you just need an emotional connection to somebody. So there are different factors, there are different reasons, and also don't self-diagnose. When you feel lonely, just talk to someone, talk to maybe a counselor or even your friend. Let's start from even talking to friends. When you are lonely, you keep on being lonely if you actually don't talk to people about it. So when you talk to people, they look for how. Like when you talk to counselors, they walk you through the part of the loneliness. Like they start to help you to determine why you are lonely, what you wish you had in your life. Because most times when we are lonely, it might be as a result of some things we feel we should have, even physical, material things that we do not have, or some people we wish we had connections with and we don't have it. So when we come to terms with ourselves, who we are, and what we can even offer, it will go a long way in helping with loneliness.
Thank you for that response. When you come to terms with yourself and what you can offer, and also speaking to a counselor can help you to really process that feeling of loneliness. Thank you. And now my next question is about, you are the president of the Mind Clinic, and I wanted to know more about the Mind Clinic. And I know you are also somebody who you are an advocate of really helping gender people who have been victims of abuse. So tell us about how you help survivors of abuse.
Okay, the Mind Clinic is a mental health organization, although we are still virtual now. A mental health organization that focuses majorly on improving mental wellness and surviving and supporting survivors of assault. We started the Mind Clinic 3 years ago. About 2 years and a few months now, and it has been a very beautiful journey. So just talking about how we reach out and help survivors. We have counselors in place that take care specifically for survivors of abuse. Yes, so we have them. So once we have cases, we take care of them. We have licensed psychologists and counselors working with us.
Really?
Yes, we have them as volunteers. So that makes the work very easy because they know how to handle these cases. This is more. Truthfully, it is not everybody that can handle such cases. So it is very important that we took our time to pick out the counselors we know that can actually handle those cases. So while counseling and during therapy, if we know that we cannot handle the case, we refer. But if it is something we can handle, we help them walk through the process of healing and getting better, forgiving, and all.
And I wanted to know, why did you specifically choose to have counselors around helping victims of abuse? What made you want to focus on that particular area?
Okay, because it is a very delicate issue.
Yeah.
And if mismanaged, it can actually affect someone's life and functionality. Because when abuse happens, either by the same gender, either by a friend, either by a stranger, it breaks someone actually. It shatters basically. And it is not something people should go through alone. No one should have to go through that alone. But in cases where, we've had cases where survivors even go for help, and while helping them, they are also assaulted again. So that's why we actually took our time, because they are very delicate and special and important.
Wonderful. Thanks for your response. And we'll have the links to the Mind Clinic so that anybody that's needing help can actually just be able to access it and get the help that they need. And now next, I wanted to really talk about the book 20 Shades of Irene, and I've read it and I really loved it. And this book it's a beautiful book. It's a bit heartbreaking, but it's very touching and it has a beautiful message at the end. And it's a book about somebody who's gone through abuse. But I wanted you to tell me a bit more about the inspiration for the book and your message to survivors of abuse.
Okay, so 20 Shades of Irene is actually a special book. Very special book in the sense that it talks about a form of abuse that always not talked about in society. Most times we talk two different kinds of abuse actually. That we have the same gender abuse. That's when maybe a woman assaults a woman or a man assaults a man. And in this case, it is a woman that assaulted a woman. Even a mother, in fact, a mother. And in most cases where the same gender abuse occurs, people don't always like to come out, because how do you say a woman assaulted you as a woman, or how do you say a man assaulted you as a man? People don't. There's the main form of abuse that is advocated for is different gender. In the real sense, it's just male to female. When female assaults female, people don't like talking about it. And that's why I actually wrote this book, because people need to understand that irrespective of the gender or the relationship between an abuser and the survivor, it does not validate the fact that an assault has occurred. Sexual assault happens when there is no consent, when any sexual activity, either kissing, either fondling or groping, no matter how little, it is still assault as long as it is not consensual. And in most cases where a family member assaults someone, it's either the person does not know how to talk about it, or even when the person talks about it, the person is not believed. Even if the person is believed, you start hearing cases like, please don't say it out, you bring shame to this family, and things like that. So most times people cover up these cases because they want to preserve family ties. And that is why I specifically wrote this book. Even the day we launched this book, that was when two people reached out to me that day to actually talk about their experiences after reading the book, because they felt like it gave validation to their trauma. It felt like someone was actually paying attention to their own kind of pain. And I'm really glad that I actually have this book out.
Yeah, well done on publishing this book. And I wanted to know whether you have any message to survivors of abuse and assault.
Yeah, my message to survivors is that it is not your fault. It is not your fault. We have different cases where people start feeling it is their fault. Victim blaming is when people are making you feel like it is your fault. But internalized victim blaming is when you yourself believe it is your fault, and you start thinking, why did I go there? Why did I pass there? Why did I talk to him? Why did I not wear this and that? So I just want to tell you that it is not your fault. It has never been your fault, and no one should have to go through what you are going through, but you will go through.
Thank you so much, Blessing. You're doing amazing. I have an extra copy of 20 Shades of Irene if you want to read it and just be better informed about abuse. Thank you so much again. Well done. And I'm so impressed by your journey and the fact that you are starting out and you're still a student in university and you're doing so many amazing things. I know that God is going to take you far, and I'm glad to be part of your journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for joining us, and I'll see you on my next episode. Take care and take care of your mental health also. Bye.
Bye.